how our souls can thrive with the actual nutrients that they need. What are some like key soul nutrients that we need to grow our soul?
Well, we need to have a very good digestive system.
True. Lots of probiotics.
Number one, probiotics. But what would you think probiotics could be on a spiritual level and on a breath level and on an emotional level and et cetera, et cetera. There's many different levels. And I think as we tend our life, we digest our life in a way that makes really good soil for our soul to rest in and be whole.
Mhm.
So having good, rich, fertile soil through breath, through digesting our trauma, digesting our, just the things that have happened to us in life, maybe not complete trauma, but all the things that have happened.
Yeah.
And, as women, especially, gosh, we're at a deficit just being a woman, you know. Um, and so how do we digest being a woman and coming into our full sensory, sensational, beautiful fullness?
Yeah.
We have a lot to digest
Yeah.
because there's a huge cultural narrative that has dampened down our beauty, dampened down. I mean, there's a lot of beauty in the world and a lot of people that don't think they're beautiful.
Yeah. And a lot of aspects that we have separated ourselves from, that's not beautiful, and I'm going to say like a nourishment for the feminine is emotional digestion.
Yeah.
There's so many emotions that have been said are not okay to express them in the world. Like you can't be at work and cry, or
Right.
like in a meeting with others, just even in a casual meeting and someone's crying and they start apologizing. That happens like every single time I see someone, they start crying, they start apologizing. I'm like, that happened the other day. I was at a thing and someone, it was so sweet because I opened up really fully about an experience about my father's passing, which Deanna helped with, which was amazing. And then that really opened the field for this other beautiful man who was sitting there to then start talking about the birth of his daughter. And the wife had a C-section and all this, and she couldn't like hold the child. And he started to cry, like, talking about this kind of traumatic birth experience, but also the tenderness of holding his daughter, you know.
Yeah.
um, he didn't apologize, but there was some shyness there, and I was like, tears are medicine for the soul.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We are 70% water, and really we're 90% water, and if we can't shed some of that water and be a watershed for life, the soil of our life needs that, needs our tears, needs our emotion, we need to feel comfortable and free being able to express ourselves. And, women for the past 150 years have been told that we're hysterical when we go into an emotional state. And, that translated 100 years ago into hysterectomies. Take out the woman's parts and the hysteria will go away, you know? And so we're living that very strange dream that has kept us very small in a
Mm.
way. And there are women that are, and the feminine that are really speaking out and being brave and courageous. And that's what it takes, is a lot of courage. But there are a lot of us that have had a long road to get to a place of finding our voice. and
Yeah.
being comfortable with our emotions.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that's part of like the nourishment is also hearing our different voices, hearing our different expressions, and hearing them in community together, like making it acceptable to hear a range of emotions, a range of diversity, in expression, which is what a village would have been. It would have been a range of expressions and a range of things. I was just telling my friend I was watching this like emo movie, this where people were really like sulky and pouty, and I was just like, why am I enjoying this? Why am I loving this right now? And I was like, you know what? I really long to go to a restaurant where we're sitting there and I'm looking over and someone is crying, and like, some tears are for grief, but someone else is crying for joy about how beautiful this meal tastes, or like
Yeah.
someone else is just having like a whole other, animated expression or but also seeing the different range of like emotion that versus like everyone's so happy. Like in the States, we do this a lot, not in other cultures or countries so much, but in the States, it's a lot like everything is okay. It's about service,
I know, I completely know that. And oftentimes I feel so out of my element with um that what you're talking about because I am a very emotional person and I have a whole range of emotions that bring for me in my life bring so much diversity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just had an experience with somebody who um did some things that were kind of risky. And one of the young women in the group confronted this person and started to cry because they were so scared
Mm-hmm.
about what had happened. And everything was fine, but they were really afraid. And the expression was crying and tears and just trying to get across the point that we need to have these emotions. And the person couldn't understand why the other person was so emotional about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, because there are very, very sensitive people in the world, and they pick up on, they care about people, and they pick up on the danger very quickly. They pick up on what is out of balance. And we have to let them have that expression.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we stuff it a lot.
Yeah. And we have to let ourselves have that expression because it's like stuffing it a lot, then you get constipated. And then you also cause disease.
Digestion. Yeah.
Yeah, digestion, exactly. You also, not just that, but you cause disease in the tissues because you have, relegated, you have said, oh, this emotion, I can't express it. And energy is moving through your body. It's the
Yeah.
energy of an emotion. You're like, oh, I can't express this emotion. And so then you're like, let me just put it over here in my armpit or something, and then like, then something happens and you have a symptom that arises, and that symptom is actually because of an emotional expression that got repressed.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So digestion, making good soil, good fertile soil,
Mhm.
composting our lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. And to compost it would be to allow the digestion process to happen, which means that, you know, in an emotional way, to allow it to arise and to allow the energy of the emotion to move through your body. And that's what traditional cultures had so much of: dancing, singing, ritual that allows a place of expression, sharing together in community to be witnessed in your expression, which creates the container as well for the digestion process to arise. And then it gets released. Like the energy has to move somehow.
Yes. So I see that our programs are going to have all of those elements and more.
Yeah, totally. So
In
many
people
elements.
to digest and build good soil for the soul to inhabit and be fully purposeful.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, stay tuned for more conversations and the more programs about soil and soul.